Welcome to the Global Impact Conference. I'm Debbie Tannenbaum, and I'm so thrilled to be here with you today. Before we get started, I wanted to share two small things with you. One, I'm giving away a copy of my book if you've listened to my session. So if you go to the bit.ly Math 23 giveaway, you can enter for a chance to win a copy of my book. Secondly, the participant handout, which is bit.ly Global Impact Math 24, has the link to that giveaway and all the other links you'll need today. So once again, that's https://bit.ly Global Impact Math 24, and all of those are lowercase. So with that, let's get started. And welcome to the Global Impact Virtual Conference hosted by ISTE Community Leaders. I'm Debbie Tannenbaum, like I said, and you can find me on social media at Tannenbaum Tech. And this session is called Tech Up the Math. So this session really has you listening for a little bit, going over information, and then going and playing. So during this video, feel free to pause the video, play, and then come back. The video will not be in and of itself that long because I want to give you time to play. This is what I call one of my fun sessions because you really get to play. So once again, like I said, the participant handout is at bit.ly Global Impact Math 24. You can also get it with the QR code, and it has all of the links you'll need for today. So a little bit about me. I'm an elementary school educator. This is my 25th year. I'm a tech coach at an elementary school in Virginia in the United States. I've been blogging on my website, Tannenbaum Tech, since February 2019. So it's been quite a few years, and you can find me on Tannenbaum Tech pretty much everywhere. X, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. And my book, Transform Techie Notes to Make Learning Sticky, was published in 2021. And I also contributed to a book called Amplifying Instructional Design. In addition to that, I am a proud ISTE certified educator and an ASCD emerging leader. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do today is I'm going to ask you to take a minute and reflect. I do a lot of reflections in my sessions, and this reflection is a thinking routine called word, phrase, sentence. So if you go to that Wakelet, I'm going to bring that Wakelet in so you can kind of see where everything is. Here's the Wakelet. And when you go to that Wakelet, that first link was that win a copy of my book. This is the second link, and it's going to ask you to tell me a word, a sentence, or a phrase that you think of when it comes to technology and math. So go ahead right now, and pause the video and add your thoughts in. Welcome back. I hope that you got a chance to reflect. And now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what it means to tech up the math. When I started teaching and working with teachers as a tech coach, one of the things I noticed is that the teachers I worked with were not very responsive in reading. But in math, I had this kind of the sweet spot. And when I went into math classrooms, I noticed there were three characteristics I saw over and over again that those math lessons that we were doing had. And I'm going to take you through each one of them. The first is visualize, the second is multimodal, and then the third is interaction. So let's look at each of these a little bit more in depth. So with B, visualize. Does the tech tool allow our students to visualize the math concept in a way not possible without the technology? So I really want you to think about as we go over examples today, how is it helping you visualize? And some tools I'll show you will have all three, some will only have one or two. Our next one is multimodal. Does the tech tool offer students more than one way to share their thinking? That's building in that universal design for learning, really thinking about, does it have more than one way? And then the last one is, does the tech tool empower our students to interact with their classmates or their teachers' math thinking? This is the one I find is most often ignored. Many times we're the only audience for our students' math thinking, but we can really get a lot when our students get involved in meaningful discourse and they listen to each other's thoughts. That really brings in that whole global collaborator standard where we're learning from others to enrich our perspectives. So this relates, of course, to the ISTE standards. So when we think about visualizing, we're really being a computational thinker. Our students are developing and employing strategies for understanding and solving problems, and they're using technology to help them develop and test those. When we think about like virtual manipulatives and things like that. Multimodal really hits that creative communicator. Our students are communicating clearly and expressing themselves for a variety of purposes. And they're picking what best meets their goals. And then that last one, like I said, is that global collaborator. We're using digital tools to broaden their perspectives and enrich their learning. That happens as they collaborate with others and they work in teams. And that happens locally before it happens globally. I also think it benefits our multilingual learners. I work in a school where we're 40% language minority, 25% multilingual learners, and that visualizing provides our multilingual students with visual supports that make the language of math more comprehensible. Yeah, I always think about the word product and how many different meanings it has. Multimodal helps our multilingual students, gets them more actively involved and helps them remember content easier. And then interaction obviously is giving them an opportunity to work together to solve problems with English. But this benefits all of our learners as well. The National Council of Teaching Mathematics says in their tools and technology section of their guiding principles, this quote, and I always share this because I think it's so key. An excellent mathematics program integrates the use of mathematical tools and technology as essential resources to help students learn and make sense of mathematical ideas, reason mathematically, and communicate their math thinking. So keep all of that in mind as we go through the couple of activities we're going to do today. So what we're going to do, like I said, is today is going to be a chance for you to play. And I'm going to show you some things, and then I'm going to tell you to pause the video and take some time to play. Because all of these activities I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you time to play, and then I'm going to kind of take you in on the teacher end to see it in a different way. So let's get started. We're going to start off with flip today. And one of the reasons I start with flip is that flip is, I think, one of the easier ones to use. There's a lot of pre-made activities, but you have so many different ways to visualize the math and use that multimodal thinking. You can use mic only mode, you can use text, you can use boards, you can draw, you can use GIFs if you can figure out a way to make it work. You can add images and you can add frames. So lots of ways to show your thinking. A lot of times people think of flip and they think you have to be on video, and that is not the case. I also love flip because it gives our students increased interaction. Students can listen to and respond to their peers in the way that best meets their needs. So like I said, I want to give you an opportunity to play. Before I give you an opportunity to play, I'm going to share with you three examples, and then I'm going to share with you where the playing place is. So this first example that I'm going to share with you is a kindergarten example. And this is what one of the first things I have my kindergartners do on flip. Using a 5 frame, how many different ways can you make 5? I give them a sheet that has 5 frames on it. Looks a little bit like that. And I ask them to color it. And then they hold it up either in front of their face or on their side, just getting them used to sharing their thinking. Now, when I have them do this, I do not have them respond to each other. I just want to get them in the practice of using different ways of showing their thinking. This is a second grade example. And like I said, I'm elementary, but these examples will work regardless of what you use. In this example, our students are doing a measurement flip hunt. And in this measurement flip hunt, they are working with a partner and they're getting points based on what they did. Now, I don't know about you, but I hated doing measurement when all of my kids were measuring those worksheets with the little rulers on them. This is a much more meaningful task. They're walking around with their partner and they get 1 point for measuring the length of a pencil or 1 point for measuring the length of their laptop. But then on 5, they're having to estimate, find, and measure an object that's between these two. And then the last ones are obviously the harder ones. And then there's even a recording sheet here. So it gives you an example of a second grade. By 6th grade, we can get a little bit more sophisticated with this. This is a 6th grade example. In this one, the students are creating a video to help me teach my other 5th grade classes how to compare and order fractions and decimals and mixed numbers. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what you can do. Now, I'm going to give you two different options right now to explore. Let's go back over here. I'm going to go ahead and bring up that Wakelet again. And when you go a little further down in that Wakelet, you're going to see there is a link to join our Flip Math community. So once again, this is at bit.ly Global Impact Math 24. And when you click that, you're going to see there are lots of things here that I've used. So that's option one for you, is you can use any of these and explore. Option two is you can go up to the face and you can go down to this discovery library. And when you go to that discovery library, scroll down. If you've never played with the discovery library, you're in for a treat. And then you can sort by math. And then pick your grade level. So if you work with older kids and I don't, then go ahead. Maybe you're looking for something with proportions. And go ahead and see what's there. I'm not sure if that's a good, so gives you some ideas of what you could find. So with that, I'm going to go ahead right now and ask you to pause the video, and then we'll come back to do the next tool. Welcome back. We're getting ready to do our second tool. And this tool, I think, is one of the easiest tools I'm going to show you how to use. I think it's one of the most fun. And this one is a free tool as well. Every tool I'll show you today is free. This is Pear-Dex Flashcard Factory. And one of the reasons I really love Pear-Dex Flashcard Factory is it helps our students to visualize math concepts. This one student is the artist. They have these tools. And this guy up here, I call him Perry Foreman. I tell the kids that's his name. And what happens is you have a color, you have a paintbrush, you have an eraser, you have a line tool, and you have a text tool. And you can move the sizer to change the size of those things. This is what it looks like when students work. One student is the artist, the other student is the detective. This is a very, very simple first grade or kindergarten example. My students are doing 2 + 7. The detective wrote the answer. And then the artist drew a tens frame, which I was pretty impressed with. This was actually done in first grade. So that's what we're going to get a chance to kind of play with. Now, here's just some other examples of what it could look like. You've seen a kindergarten, a first grade example. This is a third grade. By third grade, almost every standard I've seen involves a standard that includes create and solve problems involving ... And that's what this does. This is doing division basic facts. One student is writing a word problem. The other one is drawing a picture. By sixth grade, we can even use this with multiplying and dividing with fractions. So pretty cool. So let's go back again and let's go ahead. And I'm going to minimize this just for a minute, just so we can go and look at go, just so we can go back to look at that Wakelet so you can see what's happening next. So this time you're going to click Join the Flashcard Factory, and you're going to type in this code, KSILAR. When you do that, so KSILAR, it's going to look like this, and then it's going to let you get started. Okay, once again with this, and I'm going to let you play as well. One of you will be the artist, one will be the detective. And I've included a variety of problems. So I like to make these nice and big. 2, 3, 4, switch my color. 1, 2, oops, that did not work. That's why we have an undo button. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I'm done, I click that. And now it's going to ask me to write an example. You could write a word problem or do it like this. When I click I'm done writing, it's going to say, do you want to ship it? And when I ship it, it's going to fall down on the conveyor belt. Let me bring that conveyor belt down so you can see it fall. So there's that conveyor belt. Oops, let's make that a little bit bigger. So you can see that card just fell in the conveyor belt. This is Perry Foreman. When you're finished with these, you go to quality control and you can have discussions with your students about how they did. Okay. I'm going to give you a chance to play with this. So go ahead and take that opportunity to play. and then we'll come back together when you're ready. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure you want to know how to make this. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to go to peardeck.com. When I get to Pear Deck, I'm going to log in with Pear Deck. And this is so easy. I click Practice Flashcard Factory. And then I just enter whatever terms I want. If I'm doing something super simple, I could do something like that. Maybe I want to add a word problem in, and I can do that here. A lot of times when I do this, I will do a word problem, and then I'll ask my detective to write the equation. There were 5 flowers, and I got 16 more. You get the idea. When I click Play Flashcard Factory, it's going to say you're missing things. Just started anyways. And that's where you joined me into this activity. So I'm not going to have you join that one because it is not the one I want you to play with right now. Okay, last tool, one of my favorites. This is Desmos. And Desmos has come such a long way in the last couple of years. Desmos gives our students so many different ways to visualize math concepts. They have sliders, which you can see on the screen right here. They have polypads, which is basically any manipulative that you could ever think of. And it's just an amazing resource. I can't say enough about Desmos. Desmos also gives our students many different ways to share their thinking. We have drawing tools, we have text, we have audio tools. Let me go ahead and make that a little bit bigger so you can see it better. You can even use computational, some coding to add some sentence stems. So like even look at this one. This one's functions. There's a microphone there. Students can talk into it. One of my students actually showed me that. Here they can draw. They have so many options of ways to share their thinking. But one of my favorite ways to use Desmos is to do the polygraphs. Now, polygraphs are not testing whether you're lying or not. What a polygraph is essentially a guess who for math, and students get a chance to work together. So let's say I pick the circle. There's 16 images always. Polygraph means many graphs. And then my partner has to ask me questions. If they said, is it a 3D shape? I would say no. They cross off all the 3 and eliminate all the 3D shapes. Okay. I always put questions up on the screen as a guide for them. So with that, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to play. So you have 2 choices right now. Choice number 1 is if you want to go here. This is a document I've created where it has Desmos activities that are mostly for elementary based on our current standards. So that's one choice. The other choice you have, oops, let's cancel that out. The other choice you have is that if you go to, it's just, if you go to that Wakelet again, you'll notice if you go a little bit further down, there's a way for you to join our Desmos classroom. And that would be probably the best way for you to really experience it. It's going to ask you to add a code. And then you get the opportunity to join. And this just has a lot of different types of practice in it. So I go here, I click start activity. I can listen if I want to. That's an option you can enable by clicking those 3 lines and going to accessibility settings. I have text to speech available. And you can add your voice in, you can listen. And you can go from, I have it open so you can go and do it in any order, but go ahead and kind of play. There's 10 pages. I've kind of just put them together to give you an idea of what it can do. In these in particular, you can actually move the numbers. It's like an open middle question. That's the one I showed you earlier. So with this will move, and then this will color, and then I can see the connections between the 2. This one actually spins. So, I say which one I think I'm more likely to win on. I say why. This is the polypad, and the polypad has pretty much any manipulative you can ever think of. There's geometry ones, there's number ones, thinking about if you like to use number tiles or prime factor circles, there's fractions. There's even dice in here. So definitely explore on that page. I've given them one where there's something out here to kind of get them started, but you could have them use it in many ways. There's another polypad one. And then this one, like I said, is one of the ones that you can actually spin. So you have lots of choices to kind of play. The other thing I want to mention, so right now I'm going to have you kind of take a couple minutes, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you the teacher side of this equation. Okay, hopefully you had a good chance to play. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the teacher side. So right now I'm logged in as a teacher. I've gone to teacherdesmos.com. And right now I'm just going in, and so you can see. Right now I can see I have one student in here. That student is me. And I have a dashboard here. I can see where my person is. I can make that person anonymous, who's me. I can pace it so that my person can only be on one screen. Let's say I wanted my person here. I can also get rid of that. I can pause the whole thing. I also have several different views that I can use. I have the student view, which is the one I'm in right now. Notice there's a calculator up there if you need it. I also have the teacher view. In the teacher view, I can actually see my students' work. And I could even, if I wanted to, respond to them and give them feedback. I also have a summary view, which will show me which activities each person has done. And I can see right now where I am at. So lots of cool things. The other cool thing about the teacher view that I'm going to share with you before we start to close things up is that there are lots of really great collections for teachers. So if you're a grade K-5 teacher, definitely check out this Desmos K-5 collection. It's brand new and they keep adding things every week. So definitely check that out. If you're with older kids, there's a 6 through 12 collection. But there's so many different possibilities of what you can do. Definitely spend some time checking them out. And you can see as I continue to scroll all the different things that are here, and I'm sure there's something that's going to meet your needs. These two activities which are listed here are just a grade 1 and a grade 5 example from the teacher view, just to kind of give you an idea. Okay, well, we're going to go back to that Menti that we were at the beginning, and we're going to start to reflect and close things out. So this is a thinking routine called I used to think and now I think. So if you would go ahead to that Menti link and reflect, I would really appreciate it. And then come back, just pause the video and then come back and we'll finish things up. I really appreciate you taking your time to come to my virtual session. This just gives you a chance to do two things. One, give me feedback. And two, when you give me feedback, you get a link to today's slide deck. So if you can go ahead, you can give me feedback. That would be really appreciated. Just to make sure we're all on the same page. Oops, let's go back. Let's see. It is also on that Wakelet. You can access it as well. So you can access it in more than one place. So go ahead right now, take a few minutes and give me feedback, and then we'll come back to close it. So once again, thank you so much for coming to my Global Impact virtual conference session. I'm Debbie Tannenbaum. I am a school-based technology specialist at Saratoga Elementary School in Fairfax County Public Schools in Virginia in the United States. You can email me at Debbie@Tannenbaum Tech. You can also check out my website. I also have a Facebook group. You're welcome to join it. And I just want to thank all of you for coming today. I know you have a lot of choices of what sessions you can watch, especially when there are so many virtual ones. And the fact that you chose to spend some time with me virtually really means a lot to me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.